Hello friends, my name is Bree and welcome to That Iowa Homestead. We are in the first month of the new year and I have been taking the time to sit and think about all the things that I'm hoping to achieve in 2023. So today I thought I would sit down and share these goals with you. So I have 3 categories that I'm going to share with you. I have chickens and such, gardening and preserving, and overall homestead goals. A lot of the goals that I have are not like massive goals by any means, but they do play a role in much larger long-term goals that I have for our property. So the first goal that I have is to add another roost in my coop. Again, not a huge goal, but something that's going to need to be done before I move new chicks into the coop this spring. Speaking of new chicks, the next goal that I have is to add 15 more chickens to my flock. Something I didn't share with you guys that I probably should have is that this fall, my flock really suffered. Chickens just started coming up missing and I was just finding chicken bodies and I didn't know what was happening because it was happening in like the middle of the day when no one was home, which is extremely unusual. At least in my experience, that's extremely unusual. So I set a trail cam out and found out that I had stray dogs that were coming and killing chickens in my coop. There were 2 of them. One of them for sure had a collar. I could not tell if the other one had a collar or not, but they were just coming and just, 3 to 5 chickens at a time. I ended up losing over 2 weeks. I lost 15 chickens. I called and texted all the neighbors that I have phone numbers for. Nobody recognized these dogs. One day I was here when they were here. I ended up going outside and chasing them off. And then I jumped in my car and drove around and tried to see where they went. They just disappeared. I never found them. So, what I ended up doing was shutting my coop door and locking my chickens in my coop for about a month. The last time that I saw those dogs after I locked my coop up was just before Thanksgiving. And just a couple of weeks ago, I finally started letting my chickens back outside to roam again. I haven't seen those dogs since. I hope I don't ever see those dogs again. But needless to say, since I lost a pretty significant portion of my flock, I need new chicks this spring. So I will be getting chickens again. Moving on, the next goal that I have for myself is I would like to build myself a chicken tractor. If you don't know what this contraption is, I will post a picture somewhere on screen here so that you can kind of get a visual reference as to what it is that I'm talking about. To explain, a chicken tractor is basically like a smaller version of a chicken coop with wheels on it. It's completely enclosed. And the idea of it is that you can have your chickens on a specific portion of your lawn or grass or whatever. And then as they eat down that grass, you can just continue to move that chicken tractor around your property. My initial goal with this chicken tractor is to move baby chicks out to the chicken tractor to get used to being outside after they're fully feathered, of course. But my long-term goal for having this chicken tractor is eventually I would like to raise meat chickens in these chicken tractors. One thing that I feel like our property is lacking is livestock. And while my husband does hunt, neither Jesse nor I have ever raised our own meat. So I figured a good place to start is something that we are familiar with, and that is definitely chickens. Tying right into that one, the next thing that I have on my list is to buy an incubator. I would really like to get to a point where we are more self-sustainable, and part of that is raising your own meat. Part of that is being able to hatch your own eggs. I do have a rooster, so I could be hatching eggs right now and I'm not. So I want to buy an incubator and I would like to hatch my first round of eggs. My overall goal is to eventually, I think I'm going to move on to just having one breed of chicken. I do enjoy having multiple breeds. I like looking at them. I think they're pretty. But I think the more efficient thing to do is to move on to just having one dual purpose breed of chicken. I don't want to have to rely on a hatchery for buying egg layers. I don't want to have to rely on a hatchery for getting meat chickens. So if I can find a good dual purpose chicken that I am happy with, I would really like to do that. If I can find that good dual purpose chicken, then in theory, my flock would be entirely self-sustainable. I wouldn't have to rely on a big hatchery to buy chicks in the spring for egg layers or meat birds, and that is ideal to me. Well, that's it for my chicken goals. So moving on from that, we're going to move on to gardening and preserving. First, in that category is I would like to get at least 2 more apple trees this spring. Neither one of my current apple trees did well at all this year, and I was super sad about it. I really wanted to preserve a ton of apples. I was really looking forward to being able to bring like apple crisp to Thanksgiving this year, and it just did not happen. So I feel like the trees that I have are getting to the point where they're almost to the end of their lives. The one tree, I don't remember if I've spoken about it at all, but it looks like at some point in time before Jesse and I moved into this place, it got blown over or got knocked over, something happened and it was laying over, and the previous owner tried to straighten it up, but it just didn't work. And whatever he used to try to get it to stay upright ended up growing into the tree, and the tree is still leaning over anyways. So it's just time. I'm thinking that I get 2 more trees planted this spring, and then maybe we'll see how I feel. We'll see how they do this summer. Take those 2 current trees that I have out this fall. All right, second, I would really like to have like a thriving pollinator garden on my property. I'm really excited about this. I've been thinking about it for quite a while now. I'm thinking that I want to attempt to have kind of a dual purpose pollinator garden. Obviously, the main goal is going to be bringing pollinators in, but I think a secondary purpose would be to have kind of like a tea garden situation. I would like to grow things like lavender, chamomile, calendula, stuff like that, so that I can have an herbal tea garden / pollinator garden area. I think that that would be perfect, and I'm really looking forward to planning and prepping for that. Okay, third, I think I'm going to be building another bucket planter this spring. I think it was last spring. My husband was spreading soil in our garden with a tractor and accidentally backed into one of my bucket planters. And it's still functional as of right now, but it's just kind of leaning. It's not pretty anymore. And the more it's in my direct line of sight, so I'm looking at it right now. But the more that I look at it, the more that I think that it's just continuing to lean farther and farther over. So I think I want to build a new one before that one breaks entirely, and then I'm just down to 2 bucket planters. And I would also like to build 2 more raised beds. So my overall goal is to move my raised beds to the west a little bit, and then spread my main garden bed area out to where my raised beds are right now. And then, so main garden bed, raised beds, and then build 2 more raised beds and put those 2 in front of the current ones that I have. So my garden area right here will be in kind of an L shape. Fourth, I want to start an asparagus patch somewhere on my property. I'm not exactly sure where yet. but I definitely want to get that going. I feel like the more perennial things I have going on this property, the better for sure. Fifth, something that I need to get better at is succession sowing. I have a really bad habit of just starting everything at once, and then, as an example, lettuce. Suddenly I have an overabundance of lettuce that we can't feasibly eat. So a lot of that lettuce ends up going to the chickens, which they are very happy about, but I'm not very happy about. So this year, I really want to take the time to plant things in a way that makes sense for harvesting. Sixth is fall gardening. This is also something that I really would like to pay more attention to this year. I have not been the best about it in the past. I typically end up just planning for the spring and summer garden, and then when it comes time to plan for the fall garden, I kind of fall off the face of the earth. So I'm going to get better about that this year. I'm really going to work on things that I can grow up closer to that first frost date, maybe even a little bit past that first frost date. All right, lastly in this category, I'm going to lump the last few things together because they all fall into the realm of preservation. The first thing that I want to do is I want to dehydrate a good portion of my onion harvest this year. The last couple of years, I have tried and failed to store my onions. And the more that I think about it, the more I realize I don't really have a good place to store my onions. I'm fairly certain that you are supposed to store onions between 40 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And I do not have a good area like that anywhere on my property. My basement that I have is not a cellar. It's more of a crawl space, to be quite honest. It used to be a full basement, but the previous owner filled it in probably because of flooding in the area. So my crawl space is really only about 3 foot tall. And so whatever temperature it is in the house, it's only like a couple of degrees cooler down there. So I feel like dehydrating is going to be the best option for me. That way, I know I'm harvesting my onions and I know that they're going to get used. I can make onion powder. I can make dried minced onions. I feel like that's going to be the best option for me right now. Then I'm hoping that my little strawberry patch that I have going out there, I'm hoping that I can harvest enough strawberries this year to make strawberry jam. That would make me so happy. And lastly in this category, you may recall me speaking about it in a previous video, but my 2022 garden, I did not harvest a single pepper out of it. I was so disappointed about that. Peppers are my absolute favorite thing to grow, and I got nothing out of the garden this year. So in 2023, I am making the preservation of my peppers #1 priority. Canning peppers, freezing peppers, dehydrating peppers, all of that top priority. All right, we are down to the last category, and it's just a small one, and that is my overall homestead goals. I'm sure if I really sat here long enough, I could think of so many things that I wanted to get done, but I wanted to keep it small for now. I'm sure I'll add things to it as the year goes on. But the main things that I want to accomplish this year on our homestead is, first, I want to make my compost area better. I think I've briefly mentioned in prior videos that I do have a compost area, but I'm not happy with that compost area. So this year, I really want to take the time and make it better. I would like to be able to put my own compost on my own garden this fall. So I'm going to be researching better practices and really taking the time to do it right this year. Next, I would like to continue taking trees out of the south side of our property. I know that I talked about it in my property tour video, If you would like to check that video out, I'll put a link to it right here. But we have almost a whole acre of space on the south side of our property that mostly goes unused. And that is because there's a ton of trees growing over there that need to be taken out, and the ground itself is just overall unlevel. So my husband has already taken out probably 10 trees over there, the smaller ones. There's still a few big sized trees that need to come out. So I'm hoping this fall we can get the rest of those trees taken out. And tying right into that, the last thing in this category is I would like to continue to work towards getting that ground over there level. So over the last year, we've slowly been bringing in loads of soil and spreading it around. And I would like to continue that until we get to a point where it looks like something that we can work with over there. We'll get there. It's just going to take some time. All right, friends. Those are my goals for our property in 2023. Keep coming back to check up on all the progress we make this year. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you tap that like button down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming with me today. I'll see you soon.